All right. This is crazy. Okay. Well, hello, lovely listeners, and welcome back to What's Next with Lacey. I'm a little bit frazzled at the moment because I just spent the last hour and a half trying to figure out some technical issues with all my recording equipment that ultimately I could not figure out. So we are doing a little bit of a makeshift recording session right now, using two different forms of recording to try and maybe make something that is remotely usable. So here we are. And that's just how it goes when you are an independent podcast creator trying to do a podcast on a budget. So, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. Anyway, welcome back to What's Next. If you're new here, I'm Lacey. I am the host, the editor, producer, the everythinger of this podcast. And this is my little side project, as you can kind of tell from my technical issues. This is definitely not my full-time job, though I would love for it to be my full-time job. But this is my side project to help me and hopefully help others figure out their life, their career, and maybe laugh a little along the way, either at me or with me, more likely going to be at me. And that's okay. In crazy news, this is my 30th episode. I've done 30 episodes in the year and a half that this has been running, just over a year and a half. And that is so fun. I am so happy. I'm so proud. I cannot believe how long this has been going. And there is so much more to do. Clearly, I have so much more to learn, as demonstrated by my technical issues. But clearly, there is so much more to learn and so much more to do. So I am so grateful for everyone who has come on so far, and so grateful for all of you who are listening. And I hope that this has been remotely helpful. It has been a ride. It has been a journey. And I wouldn't be able to do this without everyone involved. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Slight plug before starting on this week's content and this week's episode. I've started a Substack, which is very exciting. I know I'm like every cliche ever, every struggling 20-something trying to figure out what they want to do, writing a Substack, trying to get something on paper and finding it a little bit therapeutic. But yeah, that is what I am doing, and that is what I've done. And I actually really, really enjoy the process. And I'm happy with the results. I think it's going pretty well. I spend just an hour of my week on it. Sometimes the Substack will be related to the episode that comes out. And on the off week, when I don't have an episode, the Substack will be related to something totally different. Something random that I've been thinking about. I've been, touching on some politics. I always have content recs. So it's a good time. I would love for you to subscribe. It's just my name, Lacey Dickers, at Lacey Dickers. And then you'll see What's Next with Lacey, the podcast banner. And that'll be that. So yeah, please subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. Anyway, I thought a lot about what I wanted to talk about in this episode, my second solo episode. Still trying to get the hang of all this, and the solo episodes talking to myself. It's very weird, but that's okay. I've thought a lot about what I want to talk about, and I decided I wanted to talk about something that has been a pretty decent part of my career journey so far, and that is unemployment. Yeah, if you know me, you know that I've been unemployed for quite a large part of my career so far. I spent 10 months last year unemployed. I've been unemployed for about 6 months previously. It's something, a lot of people go through, more than I expected, and we'll get to that in a second, but a lot of people go through it and very few people talk about it. There are some influencers, content creators that are starting to, be public about their experiences, and I love that, and I want to join that narrative. I want to share my experience so that people know that they're not alone. And like I said, a lot of people have gone through this. I recently learned that 40 to 50% of people will face a period of unemployment at some point in their careers. And that is according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So a fact I trust in this era of fake news. I think that's a fact I can trust. And yeah, so I feel like we should stop acting like it's rare or shameful or a personal failure, though it certainly can feel that way. That is why we're talking about this today. That is not something that is true to that narrative. And I want to change that assumption about being unemployed. Like I said, I've been unemployed twice, and it really messed with my identity. It messed with my confidence, my energy. It was a really, really tough period, but it also taught me a lot. And so what I want to spend this episode doing, and what I want to talk about with regards to unemployment, is just some tips, some things I learned along the way that I wish I'd known earlier. And, maybe it'll be helpful to some, maybe it won't. But honestly, knowing me and my luck, 3 times a charm, already been unemployed twice, third time, who knows? Third time maybe coming down the track. But so maybe I'm just recording this so that the next time I'm unemployed, I have my guidelines of what I should do. And yeah, so that is where we're going today. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. Let's do this. Tip number 1. This is such a mistake that I made in my unemployment journey. I think that it is so important, and I regret not doing this, to get a bridge job, even if it's just a small part-time job. My thinking when I was unemployed was, I'm on unemployment benefits. I'll find a job in 6 months. That's a ton of time. Like, I won't run out of unemployment benefits. And you make so much, especially in the state of New York, and in other states, you can make a lot of money. And so I was like, it doesn't seem worth it. And I want to be spending all my time finding a job. Why would I take away from that to earn less and to take my time and my focus away from finding a job? But trust me when I say, 6 months goes by really quickly. And yes, you are kicked off that unemployment insurance at 6 months. So get that bridge job. It's always worth it. It gives you a little structure, a little routine, and some human interaction. When you're unemployed, you miss that human interaction of just simply having like a check-in meeting or running into your coworker in the elevator or whatever. That human interaction, you just completely lose. So having that will be a game changer. I really thought that I needed to keep my whole schedule free for interviews and coffee chats and informationals. But in reality, I just spiraled. I got sloppy with my job hunt. My resume fully blurred together. And my anxiety got 100 times louder because I was just spending 24/7 thinking about how I was unemployed. Not good. Not good for the brain. So you want that distraction. You want that little bit of human interaction. You want that routine. And then you can set your day. Okay, I've worked from this hour to this hour. I'll job hunt from this hour to this hour. And I'll rest for the rest of the day. You'll feel so much more productive and so much better. Again, such a mistake. Even if it's just a part-time job, it gives you something really, really solid to stand on while you job search. It helps you mentally, emotionally, and obviously financially. So tip number 1, get a bridge job. It would be such a game changer. I think it will be such a game changer. And again, for when the next time I'm unemployed, I'm not even going to wish that into existence. Cannot wish that into existence. Please, God, I am not wishing that into existence. Zeus, if you're up there, don't listen to what I just said. But should that happen, I know, get a bridge job. Tip number 2, be smart with your money for sure, but still live your life. Yes, budget. Cancel those subscriptions. Do what you have to do. You are tightening those purse strings when it comes to the fact that you have just lost your income. 100%. But do not lock yourself indoors like you're grounded. That is not going to be good for your mental health. You will have bad days, and that is just an inevitability of being unemployed. You will have days where you're really struggling after an interview didn't go well, whatever it may be. And on those days, treating yourself, maybe it's an ice cream, maybe it's a coffee, maybe it's a movie on $5 Tuesdays at AMC. It isn't irresponsible. It's actually quite necessary, because that is just like going to be a reality, and you need to pick me up. You need that serotonin boost. And if you're immediately like, no, I can't get that coffee. I need to save that money. 100%. But like the $7 is not going to break the bank. And you want to be the best you can be on your job hunt. So if it means spending that $7, getting that coffee, going into feeling a little bit better, going back home, prepping, doing better in the next interview versus spiraling, being sad you can't get that coffee, being sad you didn't do well in that interview and just spiraling, it'll be so worth it. That $7 will be so worth it, and you will get it back when you secure that job. The best thing that I took advantage of when I was unemployed was the Broadway lottery. As you know, I am based here in New York, and going to the theater is a really important and fun experience for me and something that I really value. And so I didn't want to feel left behind or out of something that I talk a lot about with my family and my friends. So I did it. I just did it for cheaper. Obviously, I could not do it every week and every day and all of this. Also, you don't win the Broadway lottery. And if you want tips on how to do it, DM me because I have those tips. But yes, I would go. I was going, but just for cheap. I wasn't spending $200 on a ticket. I was spending $30 on a ticket. And it still made me feel like I was a human, an active part of society, that I wasn't just this, locked away person who should be ashamed and can't function in society without a job. I was like, no, this is how I am going to treat myself when I feel like I need it. Again, just something that I did. So if you are in New York and you're unemployed, top tip, Broadway lottery. But yeah, ultimately, being broke and being miserable will not get you hired any faster. So tip number 2, be smart with money, but still live your life. Protect your joy when you can. Tip number 3, getting all exciting up in here. I feel like I probably should have done this in a more interesting way, but it is what it is. We're learning, we're growing, we're doing great. Tip number 3, networking is going to be more successful than cold applying in your job hunt. Applying to 100 jobs through Easy Apply on LinkedIn feels productive, but usually it's not. Like, I'm going to, in fact, break this down for you so that this can be, tangible numbers for you to listen to and to understand. In my most recent unemployment stint, I applied to 212 jobs. I heard from 51, just heard from, whether that was an automated response, whether that was an interview, whatever it may be. I heard only from 51. Of those 51 that I heard from, I got 19 first round interviews. 13 of those 19 were from having my resume forwarded by someone that I'd met, by call messaging someone, by knowing someone. 13 of the 19 first round interviews I had were because someone forwarded my resume and put me in that pile. And then 5 of the 8 final round interviews that I got to, yes, I got to 8 final round interviews, or did I get to 9? Well, either way, 5 of those 8 final round interviews were also from having my resume forwarded. So again, 5 out of 8 goes to show that networking and using your connections does have a massive impact on your job search. And actually, the job I ultimately ended up with, I got my resume forwarded to that job. So spend your time on informational interviews. Have those conversations. Ask for what you want in those conversations. And I'm sure I'll do another episode talking about networking and talk about what I do, because I am the self-appointed queen of networking. But securing those introductions from friends, having those conversations, reaching out randomly on LinkedIn, whatever it may be, really does go a long way. Again, go back to those stats. That is where the magic happens. Tip number 3, networking better than cold applying. Number 4, find your people. That's it. Find your people. Unemployment can be incredibly isolating. At least it was for me. Yes, I have roommates. Yes, I live in the biggest city in the country. And I still felt so alone. I felt so alone. You need a group that gets it. You 100% need a group that gets it. And so what I did is I told people I was unemployed. I wasn't afraid to share it. I told people I was unemployed. And I had some friends who were also unemployed, also looking for a job, various different stages of why they were unemployed, whatever it may be. But I reached out and spoke to those people, and I was like, you know what? You know what we need to do? We need to go work in a coffee shop. I need to get out of this house. I need someone else to be on that job hunting grind. I need someone to check my resume. I need someone to check my cover letter. Once a week, let's go get coffee. And that's exactly what we did. We tried different coffee shops. We did all the promos to get the free coffee. And yeah, we tried different coffee shops. We tried different places. I should actually do that. I should do, I'm going to, at one point in my journey of this podcast, do a list of all the coffee shops that we went to, because we tried truly everything in New York City. But it was so helpful. It A, gave me somewhere to go. It B, get me out of the house, and C, I could talk to people who understood what the experience was like. And that, again, was so helpful. The other thing that I will suggest is something that was also so vitally important for me in my job hunting search. And I took advantage of it way too late. And that is Rise. If you haven't heard of Rise, Rise was founded by Giovanna Ventola. She's come on the podcast. She's the founder episode. Highly recommend taking a listen. But she founded Rise. Rise was an online community that people could join for free, share resources, talk to people in their industry, just vent, learn from them, cry with them. That's definitely what I was doing, at least. And just a platform of an entire community of people who are unemployed and job hunting. And it was so helpful for me to join that community. And I know I keep using the word helpful, but I cannot think of another word. It was so helpful for me to join that community, because even though I was talking to people who I'd never met before, and I will say I've only kept in touch with a few people, but it was so refreshing to hear from so many different people, like 20, 30, 40 people, that they were going through the exact same thing as me. People were posting in the group chat saying, this is what I just heard from a recruiter. Anyone know how to deal with this? Response after response after response. At one point, I went down the road of thinking about a career coach. I posted, someone responded with a suggestion, and that's who I went with. I, for some reason, resisted on joining this community. I was like, no, I can do it. I don't need to talk to people. Like, they won't understand. But no, big mistake. Don't do what I did. Even if they aren't in the same industry, even if they aren't going for the same jobs, it is remarkable how similar the experience is and how similar just the experience of being unemployed is from person to person. So it was so helpful. Join Rise if you're unemployed. It's still going. It's amazing. Go Giovanna. Listen to the founder episode. But yeah, don't revel in your loneliness. Find people to talk to. It'll make a massive difference. And last but not least, tip number 5, shame is useless. Let it go. There is nothing shameful about being unemployed. As I said, 40 to 50% of people go through it at some point in their career. It is an inevitability. Not an inevitability. It is a high chance that it will happen to someone, to people, to the people around you, to those you think who are super successful. Just look at our economy and look what's happening. And indeed, being laid off happens. Being unemployed happens. It's just a thing about life. And don't be ashamed of it. Talk about it. Be honest about it with friends, in networking chats. You can be honest about it on your resume. I don't think it's looked down upon like it once was, but I am not an expert there. I'm not a career coach. I'm not an HR person, so don't necessarily take my advice on that. But like, I have a gap on my resume. It hasn't hindered me yet. Fingers crossed. I'll keep you posted. But be honest about it. I remember going to a party and someone was like, wow, I can't believe you told me that you're unemployed. Like I would be so embarrassed. And I was like, okay, that's rude. You are actively shaming me on my misfortune, but thanks. And I was like, no, why would I be ashamed? It's a reality of life. Like, and I'm job hunting. And do you know anyone? If you do, think about it. Let me know. Like, it's always useful to be honest about it. And then people can like know how to talk to you. And maybe your friend group knows maybe it's not the best time to be talking about work troubles right now. And on that note, like, yeah, protect your peace. If a conversation about someone else's job stress feels like triggering, and it definitely did for me, say, you know what? I'm so sorry. Can we not talk about work stuff right now? Like, that does sound really stressful. I'm so sorry. But like, it's been a tough day. I don't have a job. I'd love to talk about something else. And 99% of the time, everyone is going to be incredibly understanding of that. So again, do not be ashamed. Protect your peace. Being unemployed is tough, but there are ways to get through it, and you will get through it. That's the beauty of it, is that like at the end of the day, you need a job. So you will get through it. It will end in one way or another. And you just got to do what you can to survive every day. So those are my tips. If you are unemployed right now, you are certainly not alone. If you are scared of it happening to you, again, you are also not alone. If you're lucky enough to be working, please be kind. Be kind to everyone around you. You have no idea what their career situation is. You have no idea who around you is quietly navigating this. So please just be kind to those around you. I hope these tips were helpful. I hope that this worked out. I'm going to have to see how it works in the edit. I hope I didn't bore you too much. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. What else to add? Check out my Substack. I might be moving hosting platforms, so look out for changes on that. It won't really affect you, but it affects me, so that's big news for me. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening, and I have to think about what my next solo episode's going to be. Maybe something a little bit lighter. Maybe something a little bit not career related. We'll have to give it a think. All right, bye.